Welcome to Vegas Circle with Paki and Chris, and today in the circle we actually got Eric Waz. So, Waz, man, welcome to the circle, man. We appreciate you spending time with us, man. So, talk about your background a little bit and where you grew up.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me, first of all. And I'm originally from Chicagoland area. Moved out to Las Vegas about 9 years ago. But in my former life, I was a CPA, an accountant in Chicago, working downtown in public accounting and for some corporate companies as well. So got a little sick of that corporate world and found my way out here to Las Vegas to be a professional sports bettor.
That's awesome, man. So that's awesome. So you went from CPA, counting numbers and doing the long hours and the whole setup to get into sports betting. Were you doing sports betting in Chicago too at all?
Yeah, so I've been betting on sports since, I got to say, like my early teen years.
Okay.
Just with, friends at school, family friends. With my parents like to gamble a little bit too, so it was kind of in my blood a little bit, I think.
There you go.
So bet through high school and college, and I started getting a little more serious about the betting in my 20s. Not really winning a whole lot, but learning a lot, right? What not to do, what to do. So I had like bookies on the side and, online accounts and whatnot. And as I got older and I learned more, I realized there's people that actually win at this. I knew some guys online that I talked to that were in Las Vegas betting, making pretty good lives for themselves, betting on sports. I thought that was so cool that they could do that. And, I was working in accounting and I work with numbers a lot and big data guy. And, a lot of the keys to winning in sports betting come from analyzing, breaking down numbers, just like you do in accounting and finance.
I see it now.
Skill set,
makes sense. Yeah,
yeah, skill set is very similar. So, I thought I can take what I've learned in my career as accountant, take what I learned from my sports betting experience, and I thought if I put full-time hours into it and came out to Las Vegas to do this full-time and be serious about it, that I thought I could do well. And I thought what the worst thing that could happen is it doesn't work out. I'd give it a year or so shot, and then I'll just move back to Chicago. The hard part.
How long you been here? You've been here
9 years.
You just said it, yeah. Okay.
But the hard part about it was convincing my wife, because we had just gotten married 6 months earlier before I decided, we should move to Las Vegas. And she was a little bit perplexed as to why I was leaving a good career, making pretty good money. We're moving up the corporate ladder, so to speak. And I had to convince her that this would be a better option moving to Las Vegas. So she was a little skeptical. And the funny thing is I kind of made a little a bargain with her that at the time she really wanted a dog. And I wasn't really a dog person. So you see where this is going here.
Yeah.
I said, how about we get a dog, and then we move to Las Vegas?
Yeah. Sounds like a fair trade.
Right.
Yeah.
So we, a couple months later, we got a dog, and then like a month later, we were in Las Vegas. So it all came together pretty fast, and we thought we'd try it for a year, nothing to lose, and here we are 9 years later, still in Las Vegas.
What kind of makes me curious is that early on when you're starting to get into sports betting, usually one or two things will happen. You get a bad beat, or you hit big, and that's kind of propels you or motivates you. Did you have a good winning that made you think you could do it consistently?
So I had a lot of rough, experiences in my 20s and whatnot where, you lose your bankroll, you make some bad decisions, you quit for a while, you give it a break for 6 months, you come back. I think those are good, though. I think you need that kind of stuff to happen, those bad experiences, because that's how you really learn the most. I don't think you can learn without having some mistakes and making some wrong moves. You're probably better for it. And the part I was fortunate for was that I made those mistakes when I had very little money.
Yeah.
So I didn't have a lot to lose.
I was literally about to ask you that. I was like, were you betting a lot of money?
No, I was betting like, $100 a game or less. I mean, I got a little higher than that sometimes, but betting pretty small in my early 20s and mid-20s. And then I, would ramp it up a little bit. But luckily I learned all the hard lessons I felt like when I had very little money. So I finally just got to a point, I was about 30 years old, and I said, let's take this plunge. And, luckily when I first got here, we're starting football season up, and I guess got on a really hot run the first couple months I was here and got a lot of confidence built up those first 2 or 3 months.
Because you were winning?
I was winning, and it could have very easily turned out that I started out cold. It could have killed my confidence, and maybe I would have ran back to Chicago, who knows, for six months later. But started off really hot, did really well, and got the bankroll boosted up a nice amount, and that was huge. I feel like if that first 3 to 6 months didn't go as well, who knows if I'd still be sitting here right now.
Yeah, that's true, man. You got the support. So is that what made you start BettorIQ? Because that's your business, right?
So BettorIQ, we launched the site about 6 months ago, and it's basically me and a group of 6 professional sports bettors who all bet for a living, and a lot of guys I've known for a long time, and we just thought we had a good solid base of sports betting knowledge. We've all been very successful. We've paid our bills with sports betting income for years. And we knew that the landscape was changing in sports betting. You see a lot of states right now legalizing sports betting.
Yeah.
I think we're in 8 states now.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Used to just be here in Nevada, in Las Vegas. And they're estimating by the end of 2020 that we'll probably be in close to 20 states legalize sports betting.
Wow.
So you're going to see about half the country here getting involved. And we just thought, hey, all these new people are going to be betting for the first time. The industry is going to grow probably 2, 3, 4 times bigger than what it is right now in the next couple of years. So this is an opportunity for us to leverage our knowledge and our experience in sports betting and open it up to the entire country, not just to people here in Las Vegas. So it just felt like a good opportunity, and it's funny because in sports betting, it's a little bit of a lonely profession in a way because most of my time I'm working at home, doing research, reading about games. You don't really get an opportunity to really work as a team or help people. And that's one of the objectives of the site is to really help sports bettors. I've never had a chance to really do that with people. In my other career in accounting, I was working for a big corporation. Yeah. You didn't really feel like you're really helping anybody per se directly. It was more of being a small part of a big operation. But with BettorIQ, I mean, we're dealing with people on a day-in, day-out basis who call us, who email us for advice and help on handicapping and picking the right game. So that's one of the things I get a lot of enjoyment out of it is that I can really help people make money and improve their lives. It's kind of a neat thing where I can take my knowledge and experience and actually push it on other people and say, hey, you can maybe not make a living at it. If you're, a lot of these people that are coming to our site, they're not professional sports bettors per se.
Yeah.
But they're hobbyists, enthusiasts. They love sports betting. They want to learn. They want to make a little bit of money. And if they just come to our site, most of the guys that come to our site, especially if they're buying picks from our site, are doing really well. So I get a lot of enjoyment out of that, and that was one of the reasons to do it is to connect with people and to help people.
So you think that's kind of what BettorIQ is, like a sports information database almost, with an expert assistance that you can give to people?
Yeah, basically we have a daily podcast Monday through Friday that we talk about sports betting, techniques and handicapping theory and things like that. We also break down a lot of games, and through breaking down all the games, we think people will learn, how to handicap properly, what to think about, what certain factors are worth, how to approach a game, and there's a lot of things you can take from that. And we also write articles. We put new articles out every day to kind of share more information and knowledge about sports betting. And then we have the picks. If there's a lot of people that say, hey, I just want your winning picks. I want to make money. Maybe I don't have the time to learn, or I want to learn, but at the same time I want to get your plays because I want to bet these. I want to make money. So we have a little bit of something for everybody there. We also have some betting tools we're working on developing right now that will help people handicap using some of the stats and numbers. And we have a lot of other big plans in the future. But for right now, it's just about connecting with people who have a love for sports betting, who just want to learn and who want to make money.
Yeah, I know I definitely hit on a couple of your free plays on social media. That's for sure.
That's good stuff, man. Nice. So what do you, I'm assuming this is consulting, right? So I was looking at the site. So you guys consult, whether it's monthly or how does that work if somebody wants to come and work with you guys?
Yeah, so somebody will come to our site. What we offer is various subscriptions. So you can buy a subscription for instance, my college basketball. You can buy.
That's your expertise, right?
That's my main sport, college basketball. NFL is another sport I do really well in. Essentially, you can come to the site. You can say, hey, I want Waz's college basketball for a month or for a week or even just for a day. You want to try for one day, get my plays for today or tomorrow, whatever day you want. And there's a set different pricing structures based on how long the subscription lasts. We also have free trials. You want to come to the site, try for a week. We don't get your credit card. We don't, take any money from you. Just try it out, get some of the picks, get a feel for it. We have every sport just about offered on the site that's out there, all the main sports, the big 6. and we have, like I said, a team of 6 sports bettors that all specialize in different sports. So we all kind of stick to our strengths. We have a really good NBA team. I don't do NBA, but the guys that do NBA are great at it. NFL, we've got 4 guys who do NFL. They're really good at it. So not every handicapper on our site handicaps every single sport. We don't want to spread ourselves too thin. So we specialize in what we're good at, and in that way we could win more for our clients because we're sticking to our strengths.
So you, out of all the sports, which one's your personal favorite outside of sports betting?
I'm a huge baseball fan.
So baseball.
As far as a fan, just not taking the betting out of the equation,
Yeah.
I love baseball. I love the strategy. I love sitting there and, thinking about what they should do next. Should they hit and run? Should they steal base? Should they bunt?
Before you even get into, are you Cubs or
Cubs.
White Sox?
Cubs.
So we got to stop this. So you a pump when they won then.
Yeah, it's funny. I grew up on the south side of Chicago, south
you gotta be a
suburbs.
White Sox fan, man.
I should be a White Sox fan, but my dad, when I was growing up, took me to a lot of Cubs games, and he was a Cubs fan. So I just gravitated towards the Cubbies. But I went to a lot of Sox games, too, don't get me wrong. I wasn't one of those people that hated the Sox.
Yeah, sure.
I've grown to hate them a little bit more over the years because it's hard not to, the rivalry back and forth. But I love baseball. I just love everything about it. I love the strategy. I love the pace of the game. A lot of people complain it's too slow, and I like that. I like there being a pause between each pitch. I like there, you can go to a game and you don't have to watch every second of it. You can talk, you can have fun, and don't get me wrong, I love going to a basketball game. I love going to a Golden Knights game here in Vegas as well. I love all the sports. But from a personal enjoyment standpoint, I've always loved baseball.
Can you watch sports now without thinking the analytical side of it, or is it constant now that you've been involved?
It's tough. It's so tough. You know what? I tell people this, and it's a little bit sad, but I feel like betting has sort of ruined sports for me in a way.
That's what I've heard from a few different people.
Yeah, it's just not – you don't think about the same, like to your point.
Yeah.
You start thinking about what's the point spread, or how far is the over-under from where we're at right now. Is there can I jump in and do a live bet right now? Like, there's so many different betting options and things to think about that I'm so trained to think along those lines now that I can't really just sit there on the couch and watch the game without thinking about it. So, it has ruined it
That's
in a
how
way.
your mind works.
Yeah,
I mean,
so you can't make a movie and watch it at the same time. It's kind of the same.
Yeah, totally. And and I'm still a fan. Don't get me wrong. I still root for my Cubs. I still root for my Bears, and I'm a Chicago sports fan.
That was tough for the Bears too, man. Good
what a way to end that season.
I thought
they
were
looked
going
really
all the way.
good too. I'm surprised.
If they would have won that game, which they very easily could have, obviously. I think they could have went to the Super Bowl. They had a strong defense and good running game, decent quarterback play. I mean, they, next year they'll be back. I think they'll be just as good next year, so they'll get another shot at it. But that was a tough pill to swallow there at the end.
For sure, man. Now, did you play sports?
I played a little bit of sports. I played a little bit of basketball growing up. I played some tennis.
Okay.
A little bit of baseball as well. I was never doing it at a high enough level to get like a college scholarship or anything like that. But I played in high school.
Okay.
I enjoyed sports, but it's funny. I played all those sports, but I enjoyed watching it more. Of watching, breaking it down, thinking about the strategies. I love just kind of sitting on the sidelines as well and taking it in and kind of just being a fan.
How much do you study, like watching sports and reading and because this is obviously your business, so you want to be successful in it. Is it every day, all day? I mean,
yeah, it's funny. I mean, it's such a passion for me that I end up working 7 days a week, and I don't take May days off. Unfortunately, in the summer I do, but this is called busy season right now. We're in everything's going on. Football is almost done, but it's more November, December. They're really the big months where everything kind of overlaps. But even right now, I mean, college basketball, there's so many teams, so many games that it's 7 days. There's games every day to bet on. I hate to miss a day, miss an opportunity where I could have made money. So I do work about 7 days a week from basically August through April, and then once we get into like the spring and summer months where it's just baseball going on, then I can take some days off, recharge the batteries. But I enjoy it so much that it doesn't feel like work a lot of days. You know what I mean? It's just I'm at the office, researching and reading and watching games, and I just it's doesn't really feel like a job a lot of times, so it doesn't feel like
cool.
work.
It's funny because Chris and I talk about that a lot, man, and I think that's probably why your company is going to do well, is because you guys are enjoying doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How many guys are on your team or you partner with?
So we got 6 guys, and like I said, we all kind of specialize in our own sports. Yeah. And we had some other guys that are helping us out.
Are they all in Vegas?
Side.
They live in Vegas?
No, we have 4 of the guys in Vegas, then we have a guy in Denver, and we have a guy in Tennessee, Nashville, Tennessee.
Oh, cool. So good markets, yeah.
Spread out a little bit, yeah. And I'm sure we'll be adding the team of handicappers at some point here once we, get into more states and whatnot. We'll probably need to add, another guy or 2 to our roster. We're always looking for good talent. So, anybody, the only, barometer for us is whether we bring somebody in or not is, do they win at sports betting? Are they professional? We don't want to bring somebody in who's, trying us out or, let's see if I win. Let me see if I can, help you guys out. We want somebody
how
that's...
How do you guys gauge that?
Like, what makes you kind of a handicapper?
You got to have a track record long enough. It's really hard.
Like out of 10, let's say, just to kind of keep a simple math, let's say it's 10 games or something. Like, how would you gauge?
Yeah, you need a lot more than that. A lot more than 10.
That's what I was trying to figure out.
Yeah, good on 10 in a row.
I mean, okay. I mean, to make a good living at sports betting, you actually don't have to win as much as you think. You only have to win about 54 to 55% of your games.
Oh, really?
So
I'm about to be at the casino.
Flipping a coin, you're going to get 50-50, right? So all you need to get is another 4%, really, to make a living. And here's why. That small edge you have, you can take that small edge and put it across thousands of games in a season. So your edge shows the more games you put it. So if you're only betting, let's say, 10 games, gosh, anything can happen. You could lose all 10. Even if you're good at this, I've lost 10 in a row before, and I've won 10 in a row before. I mean, you can flip a coin, you get heads 10 times in a row by random luck. You really need to see hundreds and even thousands of games before you really know if you have an edge or not. It's just, you need a big sample size because luck and variance play such a big role in the results in a short-term sample. So I always say to really evaluate somebody whether they win or not, you need close to 1,000 plays. Now you can do it. You can get some information sooner if you really want to say, okay.
That's a lot, man.
It's a lot.
I didn't know it was that much. Yeah, that's a lot.
But if you talk to the person, if I talk to them and say, okay, walk me through why you like this game.
Sure.
And if their reasoning makes sense and they're making good points, okay, maybe I can get comfortable with you after maybe a fewer plays, just because I understand your process. And if you're beating the lines, like if let's say you're laying -7 on a game, and that game closes -9, like it's gotten bigger spread, and you got a good number before it moved, that indicates that somebody's sharp. If you can consistently beat the closing line, then for sure you have an edge. So you can find out with maybe only like 100 plays, if you're consistently beating the closing number, okay, this guy's going to win because he's always getting a better price than what the market closes at.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's your gauge.
So that you can find out much sooner. You might see that, with 50 to 100 plays and have a pretty good feeling. But if you're just looking at wins and losses, you need hundreds and hundreds of plays, really.
So when a guy is getting in or a girl's getting in, just getting into sports betting, what kind of money are they making if they're doing this? Let's say they're a professional person. Are they making $1,000 a week? Are they making $10,000?
It really varies. So there's guys I know who do this for a living who, they do really well and they'll make, 7 figures. They're making millions a year. And yeah, there are guys I know that do this that live very modestly, who only make maybe 20, 30 grand a year. That's all they need to get by. They don't live a fancy lifestyle. And there's all kinds of guys in between. So there's it varies. There's no set, here's how much you make. It really depends on what your bankroll is. So the guys that do really well and make millions, they have $1 million bankrolls. So
you guys must have ice in your veins, man. Yeah. No, you go to stress setup of losing the anxious of.
That's one of the reasons why I don't tend to watch as many games, because it does drive me a little. If I have a big bet on a game, I had a really big bet on a game last week, and there was no way I was going to turn that game on. I just did not feel comfortable with it based on my bet size. I'm immune to it at the smaller bet sizes and normal bet sizes. I can watch a game and not worry about it too much. But when I have a big bet going,
when you say big bet, can we talk numbers? Are we saying is it a huge amount or small amount?
I had 15,000 on that game last week.
15 grand.
Yeah, and that's not my typical bet size. So I want to make it sound like I'm betting all the time.
You felt pretty good about that one.
I easily won by about 25 points that game. Yeah. But
Chris,
that's not my typical.
Yeah.
We'll all go to BettorIQ tonight
Right.
to set up my prescription.
My problem is my
subscription
bankroll's
will
not
be-
that good, so
Yeah, $15,000 that's no joke, man. That's awesome, man. So you got on there. So then, what? Since you've gotten the business, what's some of the obstacles that you've got with building the business?
The biggest thing for us right now is we have a group that's winning. We've done really well results-wise since we launched. We've launched about 6 months ago in August, and all of our handicappers doing really well. We're crushing. We crushed football this season. We had a great football season. Basketball's been going really well lately. Our biggest hurdle is just getting exposure and getting spread the word about us. Like, we don't have a huge marketing budget yet. We haven't put a lot of time and effort into marketing. That's our big push for 2019 is let's get the word. We're doing a lot of things with social media. We've got Alan helping us out to get the word spread.
Yeah.
And it just takes time with a new business. Not everybody's going to discover you right away. So some of it's just being patient.
And you guys know what you're talking about too.
You
guys are studying and knowing the
you can listen to our
coaches.
podcast and you listen to us break down games. It's very clear that we have the knowledge base, that we know what we're doing, and that's why we like doing the podcast. We like, it's a way of teaching people and demonstrating our knowledge. But yeah, the biggest thing for us is just spreading the word and getting people to know us because, it's really tough for somebody to come to our site the very first day and just start paying money to buy our picks and buy our advice. There's a trust factor there that you have to build up, a credibility factor, and that takes people sometimes weeks or months to finally trust somebody to say, I'm going to buy this person's subscription.
I agree.
Now I'm going to spend, let's say, $300 to buy my college basketball this month, but I'm also going to risk my hard-earned money on what he tells me to do.
Yep.
And that person might be betting hundreds of dollars per game. So that's a big leap of faith to just trust somebody instantly when you come to a website and say, I'm going to put my money behind this person's advice. So people will come to our site, they'll listen to the podcast, they'll get comfortable with us, they'll read some of our articles, they'll do some research and homework on us. We have a bio page with some of our background, and there's videos and things you can listen to. So it might take somebody 3 months before they say, I'm willing to put money behind. And that's what we're trying to do now is speed up that factor. And there's a lot of ways we can do that. And the podcast, like I said, is one of the great tools we have because people can get comfortable with us, realize that we're the real deal. We're not just some scam artists out there. There's a lot of people in our space, unfortunately, in the sports betting
Just
advice
hustling people.
space
Yeah, they're just hustling people.
that are hustling people, they're scamming. I would say about 90% plus, maybe even higher than that, don't even bet the games they give out for advice.
Yeah, because that's what we and Chris were talking about. And one thing we wanted to point out, I mean, that's one of the reasons why Chris and I started our podcast, with Vegas Circle, was to give people like yourself platforms
who are doing different things.
Yeah, doing different things. And because everybody, when you come to Vegas, they think, they just, you're kind of pigeonholed, and obviously your CPA background and you built your company. But it's really cool. And both Chris and I listen to your podcast, and you want to talk just maybe a little bit about that? I know it's a daily podcast,
yes,
right? So
Monday through Friday, and it varies in length. It's some days it's as short as 15, 20 minutes because there's not a lot to talk about. Other times we go for a full hour just if there's a huge slate of games that day and a lot of things to talk about based on the sports environment that day. We'll ramble on as long as we need to get our points across. But we like to do a lot of breaking down games because most of our clients and customers who come to our site, they want to talk about games. They want to hear about games. That's what they're putting their money on. So I'd say about 75 to 80% of our talk is games. The other 20-25% is talking more fundamentals, handicapping theory, handicapping techniques, how we go about what's our approach to handicapping, how we go about things on a day in, day out basis. And that way people can learn from us, how to perfect, the art of handicapping really, how to really dig down. How do I learn from guys doing this for a living, how to approach things and, how should I research teams? What numbers should I be looking at? What stats are important? What stats aren't important? How big are coaches? What's home field advantage worth? What's travel situations worth? So there's so many different factors that, in a sports betting event that people think about, and you can listen to our podcast and kind of get an idea from us as how we weight those various factors and how important are they to us.
You guys break down the science, man. I mean, it's like literally
that's
like
the part I enjoy the most.
Yeah,
I would rather talk
yeah.
handicapping theory rather than breaking down games all the time. I'd love to talk about my approach, what I do, what statistics I look at, things like that, because that's the fun part for me is the handicapping itself, and the games is great, but if you really want to learn how to do this, you really need to pay attention to the techniques and the details of how people go about their practice.
So, going from a CPA to handicapping is almost like a direct correlation. It seems like it's a perfect fit from an analytical side of things. And do you have to kind of gauge it over the course of a year? Is it strictly yearly that you're looking at these things, or you look on a daily basis?
It's funny. I used to way overanalyze my results day in, day out. When the first couple years I was here, I'd have a spreadsheet where I still do this, but not to the same effect, where I log all my bets. I'd break down, how I did on sides, how I did on totals, money lines, and I'd have, different ROIs for each kind of bet. And this every day, and got really into the results, breaking them down. I learned a lot from that, so it was a great practice to do. But the downside was that it really kind of drove me crazy in a way, because, when you had a losing streak going on and it wasn't going well for the last few weeks or few months, looking at those results was a little depressing at times, because there's a lot of ups and downs in this profession. I mean, I've had stretches where I go 6 months where I might lose like 3 or 4 of those 6 months and be down in a 6-month stretch. It's happened before.
Yeah, that's got to be mental.
Yeah, you feel like you lost your edge. You feel like, am I not good enough anymore? I'm not adapting to the new marketplace. Are people figuring out what I figured out? All these thoughts go through your head, and you feel like, you lost it. But then when it comes back and you get on a hot run, you keep winning, week after week, and everything's coming in, you feel like you're invincible. I'm never going to lose again. I got this figured out. I'm the greatest thing. Yeah. All these things. I'm going through a really hot run right now, and things have been really good, and I kind of feel like that. But I always have to kind of tame myself down and say, wait a minute. Bad times are going to come at some point, and that could start tomorrow.
Sure.
Or it could be another month from now. I don't know. But a bad run is going to come, so I need to kind of balance myself out and kind of be a little more even-keeled, not ride out the highs too high, the lows too low.
And just so I understand, like, you have a personal betting that you do, so that's like it's like your own income. That's kind of like your career almost, as your personal sports betting. And BettorIQ is the business side, which is just more information.
Right. So the business side is definitely separate. Now I'm betting all the games that I give out to the subscriptions. All those plays I give out.
If I give you money and you bet for me, it's kind of like.
Well, I'm not betting for anybody. I'll make that clear. So,
so
you're still placing the bet.
Yeah.
So I am basically giving out information and advice. It's up to you to make the bet and use your own bankroll to bet. But, I do keep them very separate, but they're intertwined because, like I said, I'm betting what I'm giving out to clients are my very best plays, the plays I feel the most confident about, because that's only fair. I don't want to give out games that are on the periphery that I have a small advantage. I want to give out the best
of
the
best.
Research.
Yeah,
the games I bet the most on. Like that big bet I had last week, I had that as my game of the year on the site.
What game was that for you, my man?
It was UNC Greensboro against the Citadel.
Okay.
They crushed them, right?
Yeah, well, I had the over-under. I had the under, and it went under by about 25 points. It was never close. It was just a style play thing that I picked up on, and it just made a lot of sense to me, the way that things I read about the game and the coaches, what they had said, and I thought it would be an easy winner, and it was. But yeah, I mean, it's the business side of it definitely ties in with my betting. But like I said, I love the fact that we can help people learn, teach people, and then at the same time, I can make them money by giving them some of my bets.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. That's awesome, man. And then just to kind of switch it a little bit, just with Las Vegas. I know, obviously, Vegas is the mecca of gambling and
for sure,
adult paradise. But what do you do for fun here, just outside of gambling?
Yeah, I do a lot of I shouldn't say a lot, but I do go hiking frequently. I live about 10 minutes from Red Rock Canyon.
Oh, yeah,
West Summerlin.
Yeah.
And I didn't even discover. I lived in Summerlin my whole time here in Vegas, all 9 years I've been here. But I didn't even discover Red Rock Canyon until like 2 years.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm kind of embarrassed to say that because I lived like 10, 15 minutes from it.
You been to Mount Charleston?
Well, Mount Charleston, that's a little further out. But I mean, Red Rock Canyon's right there, right in my backyard, basically. Yeah. And I knew mountains were there, but I didn't understand that there was all these beautiful hiking trails. And that I can go out there and have some peace and quiet and kind of meditate, so to speak.
Yeah.
So I go out there.
To have that, especially
you need it. Yeah, with the stress.
Definitely.
Yeah. You got that.
It's a great release, and when it's warmer out, I'm out there, every week or two, do a little, 1 or 2 hour hike. And so I like doing that a lot. I do have a family. I've got a wife and 2 little kids. So
there you go.
Just corralling them as a part-time job as well. So we do a lot of things with the kiddos,
Sure.
But I love it out in Vegas. The lifestyle is great. The weather's great, and it certainly beats Chicago in my eyes.
Yeah, especially right now. With
especially
all
right now.
It's ridiculous, man. So what's your take on the Vegas Knights doing as well as they done last year, and then obviously this year?
They have been phenomenal. I can't believe, being an expansion franchise last year, nobody expected anything from this team.
Definitely.
Nothing. They're going to be in last place. It's going to take them 5 years before they're good. Expansion teams never do well. They have a bunch of players nobody wanted on their teams and gave away, basically.
Did you think
I didn't think they were going to be very good. I'll be
cool.
totally honest. I mean, I didn't think they'd be good either. So, nobody really knew for sure. But the history of expansion teams is not very pretty. Those first years are really ugly. For 95% of teams.
That was like 20 years almost it took them to get back on track.
Yeah, it takes a long time. But, it's funny. They had a strategy of how they wanted to draft these players in the expansion draft. They got some really key free agents in there that they wanted. They had a very fast, speedy team. That was one of the things they wanted to have a fast team, and that's kind of the new wave of the NHL is to build fast team, fast players. And they did it right. They had a great management team. They got a little bit lucky at times as well. But they're showing right now with this season that they're nearly as good as last year.
Yeah,
they're not quite as good.
Really good this year.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah. And they actually have a better team as far as the roster and talent this year than they did last year. So I think they have a chance this year to go all the way and win it. I really do. I mean,
me too. It'd be huge for our city.
Yeah, it's huge. And then
it was huge last year. But if we get the cup,
did you go to any games?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I went to about 5 or 6 regular season games, and I got really lucky because a guy my brother knew, had season tickets last year, and he got deployed somewhere like overseas. I think he was working for either the military or the government or something. I didn't know his backstory, but so he had to give up his season tickets. My brother asked me, "Hey, do you want some of these tickets for the playoffs?" And I was like, "Well, what is he going to charge me?" Because playoff tickets, first of all, they're expensive, and they get marked up like 100% because everybody wants to gouge everybody. He's like, "Oh, just face value, whatever the cost." And I was like, "I'll take them all if he wants to give them all." I got the entire playoffs outside of a few games that he wanted to keep for somebody else for face value. So I went to almost every playoff game. It was fantastic. I loved it.
And the energy is ridiculous.
Oh, my gosh.
Hockey in general, in playoffs, I couldn't imagine.
If you haven't been to a game, anybody out there listening that haven't been to a game yet, a Vegas Golden Knights game, you have to go. It's an experience unlike any other. Just the noise, the energy, it's fantastic. I love
that Vegas energy, man. It's good.
It is. It's a good energy, yeah.
That's good.
So where do you see BettorIQ in the next 5 years? Like, where you're trying to take this? What are your goals for it?
Yeah, we've got lofty expectations. I mean, we really want to be like the place to go for sports betting knowledge, information, and advice. I mean, we think we could really, be the biggest player in the industry to help people win, to provide winning selections, just kind of be, the go-to source. So the sky's the limit. This industry is going to go really big in the next 4 to 5 years. We're going to see us in, like I said, 20 states in a couple of years.
Yep.
And probably 5 years from now, 30 plus states. So, we want to be there for people. We want to help people win. And so far, we're doing a good job. We just need to, we need to keep spreading the word and get our name out there. But so far, so good.
On that note, where can people find you at?
Yeah, bettoriq.com is our website. So you can definitely find us there.
Because a lot of people get the name and the spelling wrong.
It's bettor, so bettor.com. Okay. That's the website. You can also find me on Twitter at Waz bettoriq. So you want to find me there. But yeah, check out the site. You can sign up for free. In the top right-hand corner, go ahead and sign up for free. You'll get on our newsletter. You'll get information every day. You'll get free picks in the newsletter. You'll get promotional offers for subscriptions in the newsletter. Links to our articles, our podcasts, everything going on the site will be in that newsletter. And the newsletter comes out every single day. So sign up for free, check it out, and we'll give you a free trial. You can try a handicapper for a week and kind of get a little test run of how we do things.
I know you got great free plays on Instagram too. So
Instagram as well, Twitter. Check us out for sure.
Awesome, man. So we appreciate you just taking the time out to spend with us, man. And we'll do our best to promote for you guys too.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yep, definitely, man.
Appreciate it.
You can again, we had Eric Waz with BettorIQ. Again, you can check out the VegasCircle.com, our Instagram, Vegas Circle Podcast, LinkedIn, and also Twitter. And again, we'll be pushing the BettorIQ platform. So thanks.
Awesome, fellas.
Thank you.